Oh, so we're finally here to the last two episodes, and welcome to the madness of Yuri on Ice. This has been so much fun. I really enjoyed watching through this again with y'all and talking to y'all in the comments about it. It's been a lot of fun. But man, these last two episodes, the last episode 10 is one of my favorites. I love episode 10, I love episode 12, and episode 7. If I had to pick up a top 5 episodes, I'd probably say episode 10 is my favorite. I love that one so much. Episode 7 is probably my second favorite. Episode 6 and episode 12 are up there, and then probably episode 9 is up there too because of the Piroshkis and Yuri and Yurio and their bonding there at the end. But man, these last episodes, we're at the Grand Prix final. I'm so excited. So we're at the Grand Prix final. I do think that in the future, I had some extra time this summer to do this rewatch, and I think maybe depending, the fall looks like it's going to be really full of things to do. So, but I would like to around, if I do another rewatch, it'll probably be around Valentine's Day. I want to do Devilman Crybaby, which is like not a good thing to watch for Valentine's Day, but screw it. So we'll see if this fall, I have lots of things planned for the fall though. I have lots of projects planned for the fall, and in addition to the shows I'm going to be watching, there's a lot of shows I'm going to watch like as they come out. And then I have some manga reactions I want to do this fall, and then getting ready for Janyu Yaoi. That's going to be coming up, so I've got to start planning for it. So I've got lots of things to do in the fall, but I think if I do another rewatch, I'll probably do Devilman Crybaby next, and we'll see. I thought about doing it for Valentine's Day. That'd be a lot of fun, but we'll see. We'll see how my schedule ends up being, but that's my plan at this point, is to do like for Valentine's Day, watch Devilman Crybaby and be disturbed. So that we'll see where that goes to, but hopefully I'll get the chance this year and next year to rewatch some more series, because this was a lot of fun to go through again. So, but yeah, maybe it'll spark MAPPA to, give us Ice Adolescence sometime in the next decade. That'd be great. But yeah, we got these last two episodes to watch, and then we're gonna watch the extra into Welcome to the Madness, which is, I will use any excuse to watch Welcome to the Madness because it's so freaking good. So luckily I'm on the same Blu-ray disc for this one, and so I am going to be watching all 3 of these, and then we'll come back and talk about them. We'll come back and talk about them all at the end. So we'll see, right? But I'm really excited, y'all. I cannot wait. Let's not waste any more time and just dive in. But thank you all so much for all the support. Thank you all for watching with me. I hope it's helped make your summer a little bit cooler since it is Yuri on Ice. But yeah, let's dive into this, shall we? I'm gonna get this open. We're gonna start episode 11 of Yuri on Ice, and we're gonna start that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, welcome to the madness. That is a fun time. I want to go ahead and talk about the exhibition skates at the end, because we're going to backtrack to episodes 11 and 12. But while it's fresh in my brain, I'm going to go back and rewatch episodes 11 and 12. But while it's fresh, the exhibition skates are probably my favorite part of this entire series. And they're the shortest little bits. They're like a minute long each, maybe 2 minutes, but they're so good. And what I love about it is they completely take the themes that Yuri got stuck with Eros and Yurio Agape, and it just completely flips it, where you have, at the very end in the exhibition skate, you have Yuri skating this beautiful unconditional, this theme, Victor's theme from last year, the unconditional love, and it shows him and Yuri in the matching outfits, but with the blue and the pink, skating side by side as a couple skate, like just having this beautiful unconditional love for one another. And then you cut to Yurio, which there was a bonus that was included. There was a bonus little manga about them. And in the manga, it was like a little OVA. And in the manga, Yurio he saw Odebek, and Odebek was like a DJ at a club in Barcelona. He was asked to like guest DJ, and he's like, okay, sure. And Yurio's like, well, I want to go. And he's like, well, you're not really old enough to get in the club. Well, Yurio sneaks in because he's Yurio. And while he's there, he hears Odebek DJing and hears the Welcome to the Madness song. And he's like, I want to exhibition skate to this. and he is wearing the outfit that he got while shopping. So the skin tight leather pants and the ripped shirt. He's like, these are the clothing I got while I was shopping. And he convinces Odebek. He hears that Yuri and Victor are going to do like a couples thing during the exhibition. He's like, well, I'm not going to let them show me up. And he asks Odebek to help him. And Odebek's like, okay. When Odebek does like the long hair side glance, and then when Yurio throws the glasses into the crowd, and the whole leather, like him like biting off the leather glove, putting his fingers in Odebek's mouth, it's a ship. I'm sorry, but no, platonic friends don't stick their fingers in other friends' mouths. That's just not how that works. Nope. You could say a platonic friend would help be a partner in someone's exhibition skate, but would they let you put their fingers in their mouth? I don't think so. So I'm definitely an Oda Yuri shipper for sure. They're very much, Odebek and Yuri are such opposites, but they're on the outside, they seem very opposites, you know. Yurio is flashy and vibrant and has all these cats and everything. He's like so like in your face. And Odebek is intense and quiet and very sturdy, and Yurio is very flippant and fluid. But at their core, they both have this same competitive structure that's very similar. And so I kind of love that between them. I love that they're different, but they're also very similar at their cores, kind of like Yuri and Victor. But man, oh, these episodes were so good. I forget, episode 11 is really good too, but episode 12, So it's, I want that second season so badly, because Yuri said he'd skate for one more year to try to get a gold medal alongside Victor. And I'm like, Victor's not been defeated while he's on the ice for a while. So, but it's like Yuri on Ice was such a perfect theme. So it's like, how do you top that, right? How do you top that? What is Peachy is he gonna pick more numbers from the King and the Skater? Like, what is Yurio gonna do? Which I could see Yurio getting a little more hardcore with options, like getting into more rock stuff, because that seems more up his alley. Or maybe not. Maybe he'd stick with the more classical things. But yeah, I'm like, what would Yuri do that could top Yuri on Ice? So I don't know. What would Victor skate to? Chris would be happy. So there's just so much. I want to see the second season because I want to see these skaters go again, like, and see more with them. Like, I feel like we just get introduced to the characters and we just learn just enough about them that the second season would let their characters expand more. Like at Georgi, we saw him like get a girlfriend at the end of his journey in this season. So did that go anywhere? Did it inspire him? Is Georgi's theme next year going to be love, and he's gonna be like in love and like flowers everywhere and wear like a flower crown? Like, what is he gonna do? And so I really need that second season because I want to see Victor skating again, and I want to see Yuri and Yurio competing again for Yuri to try to take the gold. But I guess we'll get Victor skating in Ice Adolescence whenever they decide that, whenever MAPPA gets some free time to work on it, I guess. I feel like Ice Adolescence at this point is that it's that book that you put off, that you just like read a chapter or two every now and then. You're like, oh, I'll get through this eventually. Like, I just feel like MAPPA is treating it like that. And I'm like, Yuri on Ice is a pretty good franchise for y'all. You should get on that. So, somebody was saying how Yuri on Ice, like the DVD sales for this series are really good. And I'm like, yeah, I've got the Blu-ray. They're great. So I'm like, you've got such a franchise here. Don't give it to Kiyoani if you don't want to do it. Kiyoani would make that ice look damn good. I was like, MAPPA, if you don't want to take it on, just pass it off to Kiyoani. They'll do it. They'll get it done. I'm like, it's just, God, this whole episode. I do feel bad for Peachy. We don't get to see him skate a lot in this. I want to see more of Peachy's free skate. We don't get to see a lot of it. We get to see more of Odebek in the free skate, which was really good. So I appreciate that. And I feel for JJ. I really do feel for JJ in this. I give JJ a hard time because when he's arrogant and like an egotistical monster, he's annoying. But in this episode, he succumbs to the pressure. He finally, like, seeing Odebek skate and watching the others, like him going last, really affects him. And it just makes him nervous. And all that pressure of the Grand Prix and him. And here's the thing. He made that promise. He made that promise to his fiancée that he'd have a gold medal. You can't do that. Don't make promises to your fiancé that you can't keep. God, the whole thing with the rings, like at this point, I'm rewatching the episode. At this point, Yuri and Yurio, or Yuri and Victor, it's like it's so canon. And I like that some of you said in the comments that the creators, I think Molly, you were the one that said this in the comments. Molly was saying how that the creators basically were like, no, they're a couple. They said, like, in some interviews, they're like, no, they're a ship, they're a thing. They did kiss, we just couldn't do it because of the censors. And I'm like, And they basically literally, like, nearly kiss I don't know how many times in this series. So it's like, yeah, they're a couple. No heterosexual men do what these guys do, like with the rings, with the kissing of the hands. I'm sorry, I know a lot of heterosexual men, they don't do that. So you can, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm glad that we actually get representation in this. Like, Chris, I forgot we got to see Chris's boyfriend, like, that comes to, like, get him. It's great. Now, the Eros performance that Yuri does, this is not my favorite Eros in episode 11. It's not my favorite. I think episode maybe 6 was my favorite Eros that he's done. The one that he did at the one they did with Stelicom. So episode 8 was my favorite Eros performance. I liked that one a lot. The Eros from Russia was probably my favorite, and then Cup of China was my second favorite. But yeah, this one's fine. It's good, but it's like Yuri has an intensity to him. And he doesn't like going first. We established Yuri does not like going first. So it kind of comes full circle that he went first at the Japanese qualifiers. And here, I do love when Victor spins alongside him, like from the sidelines. That's so cute. And it's really nice. But, oh my gosh. I like that Nishigori is like doing the tabs. Like him and his daughter are like rounding up to see how the scores work. It's so good. But, yeah, Yuri being a little bit downtrodden that it's not a 100 score. You know. And so then for the rest of this episode, we see that for the rest of it, and I love that Victor looks concerned, like when they get the score and it didn't break the 100 mark. It got really close. It was like 319.53 and 319.41, and I'm an English major, so math is not my strong suit, but that's only like 13/10 of a point. It was so close. So close, but you didn't get it. I love the flashbacks we get with some of these characters, though, in this episode, like seeing little Peachy, like seeing baby Peachy and baby JJ. So freaking cute. And I love that we can see Peachy's room, and he's got, like, Peachy's, like, dorm room. He's got, like, he's the most collegey of college students. Like Peachy's dorm is something I would see in college. Like, the guy with, like, the books haphazardly on the shelf. He's got, like, 3 hamsters. His computer, everything's blue. Like, Peachy has, like, the best college dorm room. I kind of love it. But it's so cute. He's like, and I want to skate this way. So, and then, yeah, his personal best, and Gino is coach. And then Yurio's like, I come out a-blazing for this. Yurio has his grandpa watching. He's got Victor that he wants to outscore. He's got Yuri there. All of his competitors there. Like, Yurio has all the things set in the stage for him. And he just gives this masterful performance. He does well in both performances. But it's so good. I also think it's fitting that it's interesting that Yurio's best performance, he outdoes Victor's record on the short program, and then Yuri outdoes Victor's record on the free skate. It's like, it fits both of them really well, and I love it. But yeah, so Yurio does this really perfect score there, and then he's like, talks about Yuri Black. I love that all of his stuffed animals that get thrown on the ice are cats and the roses. And so then we see Victor watching the program. And Victor, you find out, like, it all comes full circle here in these episodes, how much Victor wants to go back to the ice. He wants to go back and compete. Like, Victor loves competition, and he loves skating with his fellow competitors. He loves watching them do well, and Victor's like, you can tell, and I think Yuri can tell, he's like, Victor's just stifled and stagnant in this coaching role. He still has time to skate, and I don't think that Victor's year was wasted. He fell in love with Yuri, and he got reinvigorated, and he found that love for skating again. I think that Victor, when he took the year off the ice, he'd just become stagnant and plateaued, and he didn't have any inspiration, and then Yuri gave him that inspiration to want to go back, along with the other skaters. It's kind of like Victor and Yuri inspired Victor, who inspired Yuri, who inspired all these other skaters, and it was just great, and, oh, I love it, yeah. And Yurio gets the 118 score, like the record-breaking score, and he's so happy. Oh. I like to think that Yakov and Nina got back. I like to think that they got back together, right? And so then they decide that they're going to watch Chris skate and do his performance, right? And I said this in the last episode, I'll say it again. I love Victor and Chris's friendship. Chris and Victor, like, they're such buddies. They are platonic. Like, I don't ship Victor and Chris at all. I think they are platonic friends. And then we find out that Chris has a boyfriend, which is really wonderful. Like, his cat, I love his glasses. I love that Chris has the round frames that he wears, which is so cute. And then his boyfriend shows up to, like, take him to the airport, and he's like, oh, you always come too early. And I was like, stop making sex jokes, Chris. Stop it. We get it. We get it. You ooze sexuality. We understand. Rewatching this, Mickey is hilarious. He's like the only one. Mickey doesn't clap for any skater but Yuri in this entire performance. He doesn't clap for anyone. He just looks like silent throughout most of it. And then when Yuri does his short program, he's like also proud that he does his free skate. Oh my God, it's great. But yeah, Victor being inspired, like wanting to get back on the ice. And Yuri, when Yuri watches Victor looking at Chris skating, he gets it. He's like, Victor wants to return to the ice. He's like, how can I keep him back if he's still my coach? And Victor's like, well, by the end of it, Victor's like, well, why can't we have both? And it's like, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. It's like, But yeah, I love that they make Chris really expressive in this final short program. They really don't like Chris's free skate. They don't give us a chance to really get on board with Chris's free skate. We see like a bit of it. Like, he has a great outfit for it and the song seems good, but it never, like, the free skate for Chris never seems as lively as the short program. They really want us to like Chris's short program, but his free skate, they're like, you don't need to see it. It's like, and then so we see it looks like an apartment, right? It looks like an apartment complex, and his white, of course Chris would have a white floofy cat. I love it. He has like a big white long-haired cat. And then it shows like him like holding up. What I like about Chris's apartment, and I was going to say this in the reaction, but then his boyfriend showed up. What I like about Chris's apartment that we see, all we see is the dining room table, but there's like 6 chairs there. And that's a sign that Chris likes having people over. Like, he likes having guests over and like having a crowd to entertain, right? And when we look back at episode 10, he was totally comfortable like hanging out with everybody and just being in this big group of people. And then you have people like Sung-Won-il or Sung-Woo-lee, who is like by himself on a couch, or you have Victor who's like on his couch by himself. These characters that aren't used to having lots of guests over maybe. But then you have Chris who has like a whole table, like he could entertain a lot of people. So I think that's like a nice little subtle character moment that they didn't have to put in, but they did, right? And so then, yeah, and then his boyfriend showing up like ready to go. And then his boyfriend's so sweet. I'm like, yeah. And you know it's his boyfriend. He's not, because some people might be like, oh, well, it's just his friend taking him to the airport. I'm like, would his friend fly to Barcelona with him and sit at the kiss and cry with him? No, I don't think so. It's not just a friend. No, they're not just very good friends. I'm pretty sure it's his boyfriend. It's like, aw. But yeah, they have Chris's program. It's great. And then I love that the boyfriend's there. Aw. And he's like looking over at Chris being like, oh, you did it. I do love that everybody in here, every competitor, they're all super supportive of each other. They're like, every skater, like everyone cheers each other on, even if they're competing against each other. There's like no ill will, like nobody's like mad that the other skater's doing better than them. They just want to push themselves harder. It's like such a feel. That's why Yuri on Ice is one of my feel-good comfort animes, because there's no animosity between people competing. They just always want to get their personal best and do the best they can, and it's freaking sweet. And then yeah, Yurio shows up to like cheer on Odebek. I love that he puts his feet up and like gives Yuri a hard time, but then he cheers on Odebek. It's the only skater like other than Yuri. And Yuri, he's kind of like cheering on for the sidelines quietly, but Yurio only cheers on like Yuri and Odebek. That's it. And Odebek's like, hey friend. It's like, Odebek's got some followers too. But yeah, Odebek's like, so he reminds me of, if you've ever watched Haikyuu, Odebek is like the Ushijima of Yuri on Ice. It really is. He's just so blunt and straightforward. But there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all, right? And so then we have Odebek skating his figures. They do give us his performance. And then JJ's been watching. And he's like, Odebek is like sweaty and grimy. I do like the message that Odebek sends as a skater, because he talks about how in ballet he didn't have the flexibility like Yurio had. And so he's like, I'm not a flexible guy that can do ballet like everybody else. He's like, but I like skating. I just have to find my own path and make it my own. And I love that. I love that Odebek like comes to that conclusion, right? And so I love that he's not this dainty, like effeminate skater. He's like, no, he's like grimy and sweaty. And he's like, this is just how I am. And I'm like, it's such a contrast to Yurio. It's why they're perfect together. And so then, yeah, JJ, that fierce competitiveness. And JJ saw like the gleam in his eye. I love that Minami is there, and Minami has like, every time he's happy, he like sees his little fang. It's so freaking cute. And then, yep, Odebek does really good, and he's got second. And I love that Yurio is looking down at Yuri like, see how my boyfriend did? He's almost beating you right now. It's like, oh my god. It's great. And so then, yeah, poor JJ. Again, I feel really bad for him. Like, he just has a really bad program. Like, just his short skate and his free skate are just not good. And it's you could say it's kind of a cop-out that they built JJ up to be this OP guy, and then they're like, how do we make it to where he doesn't, win or get second so it can be Yuri and Yurio? But, I mean, it's also pretty realistic, because when they mentioned the engagement thing, that's when I was like, oh, you put that pressure on you that you weren't going to get married until you got the gold. Don't ever do that. I will say this. His fiance is the sweetest. Like, she's so supportive, and how she claps for him whenever everybody's like in this hushed silence, and she still claps for him and gets everybody to sing along, and she's so supportive and nice. I'm like, girl, keep that woman, JJ. She's great. It's like, oh. They also make one of those couples, JJ and her, where they kind of look alike, where they both have like the dark hair and blue eyes. One of those couples. But poor JJ, yeah, everything just like swirls, and they really go all out with the animation, like showing him like falling into this pit of despair from the pressure. And I like that if you look at the other figure skaters, like at the very forefront, there is Yurio and Odebek, who both look very fierce and intimidating, like they would in real life. Then Peachy doesn't even really look threatening. He's just like smiling over his shoulder, looking kind of creepy. Chris is like looking down on him very snobbily, which is not really in Chris's fashion. But Yuri is like just looks so dainty. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, what is even happening? And then poor JJ, he just falls off the ice. Like, they really went all out animating it. And Miyano Mamoru, if you ever watch the Japanese subs, Miyano does a very good job with... Miyano's great with characters like this, though. Like, they're the type of character he would like, And he tries to bring it back and everything. But, And his fiancé still supports him. And so then, yeah, there's this whole after-credit scene where Yuri's in 4th place, and they're thanking everybody for coming. Everybody's asleep. And then, okay, so yeah, you see Peachy and Chris. And then you see Minako hanging out with the coach Gino and Yuri's sister. It's like, oh my god. She's like double fisting. And then, of course, we have to have this scene of Yuri and Victor where he's like, what do you want to talk about? And Yuri starts the whole damn thing off with, we need to break up. And Victor's like, excuse me, what? And the thing of it is that Yuri's like, I'm stifling you. He's like, you want to go back and skate so bad. He's like, I can't live with myself making you be my coach when you want to go back on the ice so badly. And he's like, I don't want you to suffer as a skater. And he's like, so I'll retire after this year and you can go back to skating. But then Victor's like, you're an idiot. I want to skate with you, you moron. He's like, I don't want to have to like skate without you. He's like, yeah, I want to go back and be a skater, but no, I want you to be with me. And so they kind of like reach this impasse, and they're like, well, let's decide what we'll do after the finals are over. But I like that Victor, he starts to cry because he's like, I don't want to lose you. And then Yuri's like, I'm not used to seeing you crying. He's like, I'm mad, right? He's like, I'm a mad crier. Like, I don't like this. And seeing Victor cry, like Victor's a pretty crier. Of course he is. But it's just, but they love each other. And so that's why I love that at the end of it, Victor does decide to come back. And Yuri's like, okay, I'm going to keep skating one more year because I want to skate against you, with you on the ice. And Victor's like, it's going to be hard for me to do that while being your coach, but I'll try. And I'm like, how is that going to work, Victor? How are you going to be Yuri and Yuri? Because at the end, you see Yuri and Yurio with him in Russia. And I'm like, how are you going to be their coach and skate against them? I mean, he's Victor Nikiforov, so I guess he can figure that out. I think that they're going to have this Ice Adolescence movie. I think they're going to have this Ice Adolescence movie be bookended by him in the present time. I think they'll start the movie out with Victor. They'll either start the movie out with Victor in the present, like coaching Yuri and Yurio, and then it flashed back into Ice Adolescence and Victor's like up and coming thing, and it'll end with him going back and kind of segueing into what season 2 would be. Or I think they'll do Victor's like whole past leading up to the present, and they'll end it with like a little shoe-in tie-in for season 2. What if this whole time MAPPA's been working on season 2 and they just surprise us with it? They're like, here's Ice Adolescence. Oh, and next year's going to be season 2. I'd freak out. You know what? If they did that, I would forgive them for taking so long. If they have been building up season 2 this entire time and they're just going to use Ice Adolescence in the end credits to be like, oh, by the way, we've been working on season 2. It's going to be done next year. Wink. I'd forgive them for everything. I would. I'd be like, okay, all transactions are forgiven. You guys are good to go. Thank you so much. But yeah, we reached the final, episode 12, and Victor and Yuri, of course, are a bit standoffish. And even, here's the thing, Victor puts on a smile for the cameras. For the reporters, he puts on a smile, but you can tell he's kind of like back to where he was like at the start of the series when he was leaving the Grand Prix then, where he was kind of uninspired. And now Victor's like thinking like, what do I do? Right? I think it was a bold move for the series to not have Yuri go last in this, because you knew Yuri didn't go first. Yuri went first in the short program, so he probably wasn't going to go first in this. But I honestly thought going into this episode that Yuri would be the last skater because he's our protagonist, so he would skate last and break the record or do something really wild. But no, they have him skate in the middle. And then they have Yurio go after him. So it's fun. But that, in hindsight, that seems intentional because Yurio going after Yuri allows Victor, like, give him the hug and be like, you can beat Yuri. Don't let him retire. And so that makes sense that Yurio goes last. And so he can, like, have that moment, right? Oh, my God. But yeah, JJ, he skates. It's fine. He makes some mistakes and he kind of just like settles for a lot. He ends up getting third though. So it's like, despite him being bad in the short program, he ends up making up for it and he ends up getting third overall. It's like, what the heck, man? I'm still amazed that he beat Chris. I really am. And Odebek, but what do we do? And so he just has this moment of despair. And I do like that JJ's family is still supportive of him. They support him no matter what. And that's really sweet that his friends and family and his fans all still support him no matter what happens. It's like, oh. Like, watch there be, like, at the end of season 2, like, JJ's having a baby. And they're like, oh my God. It's like the one guy having a baby on the skating team. And I do like that his dad's like, no matter what, I'll do my best. Okay, so the woman that's with Leo, there is hope for Leo and Sungwon-ji. There is hope for them because we see JJ talking to the woman with the asymmetrical like buzz bob cut. She is his and Leo's coach. So we see like little Leo there skating, looking back like, and JJ's like, it's a thing called JJ style. And she's like, I don't get this. And he looks like he's maybe 12 or 13. And she's like, And then we see him with Gino, who has this big lion's mane. And he's like, And JJ has had like the same haircut since he was 10. He's like, I don't want to hear this. Nope. And so I guess he went on his own. It's like, And he ends up doing all right in the end. And then we have Peachy. Again, MAPPA really likes to animate glossy lips. They're like kind of all about it. We see Gojo and Jujutsu Kaisen, Peachy in this, glossy lips abound everywhere. I am sad we don't get a lot of Peachy's free program, free skate. I feel like with Peachy and Chris, I wanted to see more of their free skates. And for the Grand Prix, I mean, it's the Grand Prix finals, but we don't get it, which is sad. Especially Chris. I feel like Chris has the more bland final program compared to the others. And then we have like Hongwon-ji, him watching from his bedroom. It's really cute. And then Leo's at the skating rink watching between his phone and the laptop, which is cute. Like everybody's watching even if they're not there. JJ's giving this, of course, interview with the JJ style. Oh my god. And then Peachy. I like Peachy represents like so much potential. Like Peachy, he understands that he doesn't have the programs that are going to get the base scores to get him on the podium, maybe, but he's got all this potential and he's just like, I'm going to skate the best that I can. And if I don't win this year, there's always next year. Like he's young. So him and Yurio have like all the time in the world. I love it though. And I love that Sungwon Lee is watching. It's great. Oh. So yeah, Peachy. And he wants to open Peachy on ice. And okay, so we have all the skaters there where he has Peachy on ice. And they're all in like the tie outfits. And they have the hamster hats. And so I like going back here, like there's the skater, like Sungwon Lee, he's there. Chris looks totally fine with the hamster hat. He's okay with it. Yuri is like, I'm totally fine with this. Yurio's not in this fantasy for Peachy because Yurio was like, hell no. And like would slam it down. And then, Hongwon-ji is he's happy with it too. And then Odebek is like, Odebek's like, I don't really want to be here. He's like, why am I here? In your dream? It's great. But yeah, I love that Peachy has this dream and he has all this potential to pursue it. It's so sweet. Like, I freaking love Peachy. And so then we go back to Yuri and Victor, and they're both like, I like happy stories. So angst always makes me like, but as long as it's angst with a happy ending, I'm okay. Because if you can get past the angst and you get to the good stuff, I'm like, okay, I can handle that. And yeah, they have this moment where everything's so quiet between them. And I love they go out to the ice to get ready for the skate. And it's kind of tense between them. And you don't know exactly what they're going to be thinking for this final one. But then, as he's about to go out into the ice, I love this moment. This is probably one of my favorite like moments between them, where he's like, I've been your coach this long. Why haven't you gotten a gold medal yet? Like, give me some skating that I'm proud of. Like, skate how you want to skate. He's like, that's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Like, just do it. I love it. And I just like all the little gestures like of Yuri like holding his hand and gripping it. And it's just so good. And yeah, Peachy, he gets the 193, that score. I love that moment where his lips is like so close to Yuri and you see Yuri's like slowly opening his eyes. It's so good. And Victor just gives it to him straight. He's like, I'm won all these years. Like, how have you not got me a gold medal yet? Come on. Skate the best you can. And just Yuri's expression. He's like, isn't it time you warmed up? I like to think that when Victor reached in to like hug him against the thing, I like to say that when he reached in, he kissed him on the cheek. I want to say that he did. And then, I love Yuri's eyes where he's just like, come on. He's like, I'm going to start skating again. It's like, I love it. And then Victor like crying into his shoulder. It's so freaking good. Victor just crying into his shoulder. It's so good. Oh. It's like the last time they're ever going to skate like this. And then them holding hands. Just stop. And I love Minami's doing like all the poses and the triplets. Oh. This is his best performance of Yuri on Ice. My favorite Yuri on Ice is him in the free skate. It's my favorite. I love it so much. It's so good. Oh. It's so good. But yeah, it's just everything culminates into this one performance, and he adds all the quads and everything to make it all more difficult. And they take their time. They show you the full number. It's wonderful. And then he adds in those last jumps, and his jumps. Something that Yuri has struggled with the entire season is his jumps, and he nails every single one of them in this last skate. But I love that he realizes. He's like, I don't want to quit skating. I want to skate with Victor. He's like, can't you see? This is what I've been trying to tell you. He's like, I don't want you to die coaching. He's like, when you want to skate so badly, he's like, I want you to be able to go and skate to your heart's content, but skate against me and be with me. And it's like, oh, it's so good. And I love it. He's like, let me prove it to you. Like, it would be worth it. And it's just, he's so fabulous in this, like the animation, everything. And all just culminating, and him doing that final jump. And then, yeah, it's they go all out on this final skate with him. It's so good. And, like, his sister and Minako are crying. Nishigori is crying! Nishigori's sitting there sobbing his eyes out. It's like, yes! The guy that was the bully to him is, like, grown up to be his friend and is crying for him because he's skating as good as Victor Nikiforov. It's like Yuri went from being someone that told his best friend, he's like, won't you watch, please? To being someone commanding your attention, and to work this whole year to become the best skater he could be, and someone that actually beat Victor's score, and just Nishigori crying because he's like, you actually did it. It's like, it all comes full circle in this. It's so inspiring. It's so beautiful. And I love that, just like his hand, like slowly, delicately pointing at Victor, and Victor has the hard eyes, and it's like, and the rings glinting. Oh my god. I want to get a picture of that one, of him with that expression, because it's just so freaking good. Yep. I love it so much. It's so wonderful. Oh! And it's like he beat the score. Mm-hmm. And I love that his sister and Minako are just crying. And yeah, Emil, okay. We talked in the last episode about how Emil may have a thing for Mickey. Yeah, Emil's got his arm, like, draped over Mickey, and it's like, yeah! And Mickey's just like, so yeah, it is Emil and Mickey. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. And he's like, I don't want to go to the kiss and cry, because that'll mean it's over. Oh. And then he's like, I'm sure it was good. It was basically a perfect performance. And Yuri's like, oh my god. And then when they see that number, that's a 221.58. And then he's beat his score. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Victor just being like, you've done exactly what you had to do. Like, I couldn't be prouder as a coach or a competitor. You beat that score. And him pulling Yuri in. Oh my god. And Yuri's blush face. It's so freaking good. It's so good, damn it. I love it. And then he's like, I'm gonna go back to the ice. And I love that he's like, I love how excited Yuri is for him. He's like, you're gonna go back and skate. And I love Victor's expression, like, I am. So soft and beautiful. I love it. It's great. And he goes and tells, there's a moment though where Kristoff, during his final skate, he looks over to Yuri and them. He kind of has like an angry look on his face, like he's just maybe not jealous, but just frustrated. He's like, get back to the ice, Victor. He's like, I may not have very many years left to get into the Grand Prix final. Like, come back and skate with me. I'm like, I don't want that to be a sign that Chris will get an injury in the next season. Like, what if they were like, yeah, Chris gets an injury and that's why he can't go to the Grand Prix final. I'm like, don't you put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do that. But it's so, like, these performances, like, everybody putting their heart out. It's so great. I did want to talk about real quick. So Chris has his performance and it's fine. But then I want to talk real quick about Jean-Jacques Leroy. And he's back talking with his fiance. And he's holding a magazine that says Ice Jewels. And there's Jean-Jacques clearly on it. And there's a kid behind him doing the JJ style as well. And I'm like, what? You were just doing so well, JJ. But yeah, so we get Odebek. And I like that Leo's cheering on Odebek. He's like, come on, do it. Again, Odebek's outfit looks princely and blue, and Yurio's outfit looks like fiery reds and like a feminine princess. So yeah, take that with what you will. They are a ship in my mind. You cannot convince me. The fact that they had Yurio coming on the ice right after Odebek, and then Victor's like, I'm coming back to compete. And he's like, what are you doing? And I love that he's like, I want to compete. Victor's like, I want to compete, but I also don't want Yuri to retire. He's like, I need Yuri to get second place. So he'll want the gold medal, but he'll skate with me next year. And so him like telling Yurio, he's like, are you really coming back? And he's like, Yuri has not decided if he's going to retire yet or not, but I'm coming back. And I love that he gives Yurio a big hug. And he's like, you've got to beat him so that he'll keep skating with us. It's like, you gotta beat him so he'll keep skating with us, Yurio. I love this. It's a big plot. Victor's been plotting this whole season to keep Yuri on ice. To keep Yuri on ice. And he gets Yurio involved in it too. It's great. I love it. But yeah, but Odebek, he's consistent and strong. He does really good as a skater. But then Yuri's like, all right, pig. He's like, watch me. He's like, watch how good I am. And just see, you can't just leave. He's like, I'm going to break your records. He's like, don't you dare think of leaving now. After I win the gold medal, he's like, you're going to have to come back to beat me. It's like, oh my God, yes. And I love that everybody's just like so stunned by Yurio's performance. And I do love that he thanked Yuri's friend from high school. That he thanked her. Oh God, her name escapes me. They said it in the episode too. But he thanks her because he was like getting ready. He felt so down after the hot setsu on ice, and she was like, "No, keep trying. I'll help you." And she like helped him train and everything. I love that friendship that develops, and then obviously his unconditional love for his grandpa. So good, but yeah, they love to animate Yurio, like Yurio being like a fluid skater, like in Welcome to the Madness, that all those moves in Welcome to the Madness, so freaking good. And I like that we get to see back when they first met, Yurio watching Yuri and thinking, wow, his jumps suck, but his step sequence is really good. And seeing Yurio feeling frustrated because he had a bad performance, and then him confronting Yuri in the bathroom. And then him saying, like, calling him a loser, like how far we've come from episode 1 to episode 12. Like the character growth on Yuri and Yurio is so good. So good. It's great. And then he's like, you can't leave now. And you see, as Yuri is watching him skate, you see that sparkle in Yuri's eyes. It's that same fire that Victor had watching the other skaters. It's that exact same fire. There's no attraction to it. Like Victor watching Yurio and Kristoff, there's no attraction. It's just that competitive spirit, right? And Yuri starts to get it at the end there watching Yurio. And Yurio's like, I don't want you to quit yet. I want you to keep skating against me. And it's like, don't you give up, rival. It's so freaking good. I love it. And so yeah, Jean-Jacques Leroy, he barely takes third. And then Odebek took fourth. Kristoff and then Peachy. I feel like Kristoff got snubbed and Odebek. Jean-Jacques had to come in third. How dare they? But yeah, so then we have the podium and everything. And Yurio is like so proud. He's like, yes, I did win. Barely. And I love that Victor's like, it's not a gold, so I'm not kissing it. It's not. And he's like, what will you do to impress me? And so then he decides, so Yuri's going to skate one more year and Victor's going to come back to skate. And he's somehow going to be their coach too. So again, like I said, it would be cool in Ice Adolescence if the movie ended cutting, because it seems like it's all going to be about Victor's life leading up to when this series started. So it'd be cool if it ended with him, like us seeing like a little preview of season 2, like us seeing Victor getting ready to skate while also coaching Yuri and Yurio. That would be great. Because he's like so happy that Yuri's going to come back and skate with him. It's so freaking good. So good. And so then, yeah. And I love that at the very end, of course, you have the exhibition skate, which is beautiful. But then at the very end, we have him saying, like, everything, win or lose, everything that happens on the ice, everything on the ice is love. It's like, we call love. It's like, I I love this anime so much. So very, very much. It's my comfort. It's one of my It and Free are my comfort animes. If I'm ever feeling like down and want to turn on something, I will either turn on this or I'll turn on Free, and it always makes me smile and makes me so happy. But yeah, this was a lot of fun rewatching, especially in the English dub. So I hope you all enjoyed it as well. So yeah, that was our rewatch of Yuri on Ice. Like I said, I've got lots of stuff planned for the fall, but I do want to do another rewatch at some point. It'll probably be Devilman Crybaby, which is about the furthest thing from comfort anime as possible. But we'll see. We shall see. But I'm so curious to know your thoughts down below. There's so much to talk about with this series. So much with the characters. So much with the skating. So much about what could happen with so much could happen with everything involving ice adolescents. I'm like, I need more. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. But yeah, I will talk to you all again very soon with more reactions. Bye.